connective tissue of an ecosystem, connecting capital to enterprise, knowledge to ambition, networks to opportunity. Through this alignment, we can unlock large-scale financing for women-led enterprises, facilitate meaningful market access, and scale solutions, and simultaneously address climate resilience, food security, digital inclusion, and sustainable industrialization. There is a call for a shift from commitment to execution. Governments should embed gender-responsive budgeting with legal force and auditable consequence, ensure after protocols specifically dismantle barriers that disproportionately affect women. Private sector embrace gender lens, investing on a rigorous return-oriented discipline. I've been told that the time is up, but we stand at a defining crossroads. Will we continue to operate without inherited systems designed for our exclusion? Or we summon the quality of leadership that this extraordinary moment demands? The future of Africa will not be determined by the resources beneath our ground. It will be determined by the intelligence, the courage, and the will of the people above it. And that leadership is in this room. We must rethink with the intellectual honesty to confront that we have failed and the courage to design something better. We must reinvent with the bold ambition to reposition Africa as a manufacturer, an innovator, and a sovereign global power. We must regenerate with an unwavering, long-horizon commitment to sustainability, environmental, economic, and social, that will determine whether the prosperity we build today is inherited or squandered. The women in this room have never waited for permission. They never will. What they deserve, what Africa demands, is for the systems, the capital, the policies, and the partnerships to finally be equal to their ambition. Let the record show that in Abuja, in 2026, Africa chose transformation over incrementalism, chose courage over caution, and chose the women. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Indeed, the future of Africa is now. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we move swiftly to our first panel session. But I want us to do something real quick. Please put up your hands like this. To the women in the house, put a finger down if you are ready to scale your business. Put a finger down if you believe you have what it takes. Put a finger down if you are done plain average. Put a finger down if you're ready to build with clarity, precision, and scale. Put a finger down if you're ready to make bold moves and money moves. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, that is what this panel is all about. Our next panel is on how global institutions are powering women's sustainability business. Where exactly is the money? And this panel is called Big Money, Bold Moves. And it brings together two of the most significant financial institutions operating across Africa and the global stage, International Finance Corporation, as well as the Growth and Development Corporation. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, please, with a resounding round of applause, make welcome our first panelist, who is the Gender Program Lead, International Finance Corporation. No other person but Adora Udechukwu. Please, a resounding round of applause as she comes up on stage. Let's keep the applause going. Keep the applause going until she comes up on stage. You're welcome, ma'am. Thank you. Our next speaker is the CEO, Growth and Development Limited, Mr. Kolewole Ayeye. Please, a resounding round of applause as he comes up on stage as well. Now, this panel session will be moderated. Give me a moment. Have Fatima Imam that will join us here from the Bank of Industry. Please, a resounding round of applause as she joins us on stage as well. Thank you so much. We're talking about the money moves, the bold moves right here on this panel session. And of course, our moderator, the phenomenal, talented, intelligent Vanessa Vovo, Strategic Advisor, Togo. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. I hope you're energized this morning. It's good to see you again. Thank you for joining us. For those of you who were not there yesterday, a quick introduction. My name is Vanessa Vovor. I'm an independent consultant and strategic advisor based between Brussels and Lomé, working at the intersection of governance, sustainability, and development. And I work with institution, government organization, from EU agencies to development partners and city governments. And this is really my pleasure to facilitate the kind of conversation we're about to have today, because today we're talking about money. Be excited to think and discuss how we can think together differently of the question about access to finance. One thing that I always see is that the gap that is always told about money, capital flowing, access to finance, is not the lack of businesses, is often that the businesses are there, the IDs are there, the resilience of the businesses are there, but the gap is about alignment, about knowing what the institutional investors are actually looking for, what are the data, the information, the signals that they read, and the sectors that they're trying, and how to position yourself as a woman entrepreneur, as a business owner within your ecosystem, so that that capital can start flowing and you're not just watching from the sideline. And that's exactly what we're here to unpack today. Not in theory, but very much in practice. And for this, we're going to move into 3 areas. So where the money is actually right now, what is smart money watching next, and how can women-led businesses position themselves, again, not just to receive money, but really to attract it and to anchor it. And joining me today for this are 3 exceptional speakers who sit at the heart of those questions from very different but complementary standpoints. First, we have Adeori Educhukwu, who's the gender program lead at the International Finance Corporation, we'll call it IFC in short, where she drives initiatives that advance gender inclusion and women's economic empowerment. She works on the design and implementation of programs that expand access to finance, markets, and opportunities for women-led businesses globally. Joining us as well is Mr. Kolawole Ayeye, the CEO of Growth and Development Limited, GDL, a Nigerian firm focused on sustainable business growth, enterprise development, and economic expansion. He brings the investor and the business strategist eye to this conversation and what actually attracts capital at scale, what gets left behind, and our ecosystems, not just individuals, company can position institutional investment. Welcome. And last but not least, we're also very pleased to have Fatima Imam representing the group head gender at the Bank of Industry, Nigeria's leading development finance institution dedicated to supporting
Rough and tumble. I can tell you, if we can train to be suppliers to rough and tumble, many of us will have access to more credit because a lot of the lenders will now be looking at rough and tumble. So I think the hub and spoke mechanism would help. Maybe I should pause there for now.
Thank you so much. And with that, actually, I want to turn to you, Fatima, because you work for the Bank of Industry here in Nigeria, and you're very close to the business owner and women entrepreneurs. Is it also what you see on the ground in terms of what are the profiles of those businesses who want to access capital, and what do you see they might be lacking to become this hub, as Kolawole described, that then can be the distributor?
Okay, no, it's fine. Okay, I actually agree with him in the sense of when you talk about a business and a value chain, if one end of the business is doing well, then the supplier, the distributor, even the labor, the people increasing the number of jobs you bring will actually affect the whole business and eventually the community. And that is the aim of development finance, building the economy, building the community. So I think it's actually a great idea. Another thing I want to say is that both the businesses, the entrepreneurs, and us as development finance institutions also need to scale. A lot of people are not aware of this financing. That's the truth. Maybe in certain parts of the country, but when you go into even major cities, people are not really educated about that availability and what they need to put in place to get it. So we need to increase that awareness, and I think another step is financial advisory, in the sense that even people that run businesses are doing it informally. You know, the paperwork that comes with accessing whether a grant, whether a facility, it's actually very cumbersome, and it requires a bit of education. So sometimes it's not just giving capital, it's actually showing people the know-how of accessing it, keeping it, sustaining it, expanding their business, you know? So I think that says it, because the finance is there, but we have to invite people to access it and show them how to make use of it properly.
Thank you. And I'd like to now turn to you, Adaore, because you at the IFC, you're sitting with the big money, right? You're sitting with the big money. So we want to understand from your standpoint, is it also what you observe, and how, maybe for those in the room who are not necessarily familiar with what IFC does, where in this chain of money flowing does IFC sit, and what are the type of businesses, or where do you want to see the money flowing as IFC, and what obstacles do you currently see?
Okay. Thanks. And thanks everyone for the rapt attention, no pressure. I'm going to build Kolawole and Fatima have said. But first of all, I would like to take a step back to just share what IFC does. So IFC, Development Financial Institution, we're a member of the World Bank Group and engage with the private sector. Services. So one is, thank you, through two key services, investment services and advisory services. And, you know, we're sharing just before we got on stage about our work with intermediaries, with financial intermediaries, when we look at our investment and advisory services. Now, still giving context, IFC has existed for, you know, decades. We've invested, for instance, in Africa through our Banking on Women program into financial intermediaries, more than $10 billion across Africa. That's a huge amount. And a key component of that investment is ensuring that money is actually allocated to women SMEs, women and women SMEs. And how do we do this? It's by hand-holding those financial institutions, not just banks, I'm talking funds, insurance, etc., hand-holding them to become gender-aware and gender-sensitive in their markets, understanding the women's markets that they serve, understanding where women sit across their operations, either as leaders, as provide the foundational infrastructure like energy, power, digital, etc., to ensure that SMEs are able to build and to scale. Now, bringing that back to, so I've touched on those sectors because you asked about the sectors and where money is flowing to. I think one of the things I wanted to say is that money will flow to solutions in Africa. He's already talked about how capital flows towards safety, but risks as well. There's always risks when you invest. So those are sectors that we're looking at as the World Bank Group because we believe that these are sectors that have that can create transformational impact on the continent. Now, when we look at how we work with our financial intermediaries to support women SMEs, I already touched on that in building their capacity to invest in and to lend to women SMEs. Before we came on this stage, we're talking about what's one thing that women SMEs need to be aware of. You know, what is that one thing that you can take away from this conversation? And I said that while organizations like IFC continue to build the capacity of the supply side on the allocators of capital, while we work with them to design solutions for the women's market, we want the women SMEs to demand these solutions from the financial institutions as well. So right here in this room, Kola has spoken about the hub and spoke model, identifying businesses that are the point of expansion and helping them to scale so that they can create jobs. That's great. But I also think that the smaller businesses, right, can fall into the investable pipeline that financial institutions are looking for. Because when we talk to financial institutions, one of the things they say to us is, we can't find the women. We can't find the women to lend this money to. So one of the things that we also help them do is to build that pipeline so that they see the women, because the women are there, right? Now, I like that created a bit of an uproar, because yes, if you say you can't find the women, there's women all over here. I'm looking at Ayodele, who is looking at her phone like, Ayodele, you can find the women at Wema Bank, right? So there's no woman SME here that is not banked, I hope. You're likely banked. And if you're banked, most of these financial institutions have products and solutions for women SMEs. They have created them because we have made them to do that. We have built their capacity to do that. And we have provided financing for them to on-lend to women SMEs. So your role now is go to your bank tomorrow. Okay, tomorrow is a public holiday. Monday, ask them, find them here in the room. They are here, the financial institutions are here. Hold on to the hem of their garments and say, what do you have for women SMEs? Because they have advisory solutions. While we provide advice to the large institutions, they have capacity building programs that can help you to be investment ready, that can help you to reduce your risks, improve your bankability, so that when they're looking at your documents, when they're demanding certain requirements from you for credit assessment, then you will be able to meet those requirements, right? And I was saying to my colleagues on the panel earlier that a lot of times when you even talk about access to capital for women SMEs and you design all of these programs or financial solutions to get more women into the hands of women, to get more money into the hands of women, you bring them for these trainings. A lot of them leave those trainings saying, you know what, I don't need the money. I have a better understanding now of how to arrange my business. You have helped me to understand how money is coming in, how I should turn that money around, and where the money should go to. So that when I get to a certain point, I can come back to the financial institution and demand for credit. These are some of the immediate next steps that we can all take in this room. Find out what is happening within your financial institutions and within your networks. Impact has a lot of information. Information is constantly flowing. Position yourself in those places where information can get to you so that you can use the information that is available. Thank you. I'll pause there.
Thank you so much. I think I'll try your work. Yeah, let's try. If I don't, I think it's when we don't move, it's fine. I want to be a bit controversial here and bounce back on what you just said, Adaori, and turn to you, Kolawole. Are you among those investors who say, "Where are the women?" Or how is it with your own? You're saying that you can't find the women businesses. So my question is, what are the actual signals, indicators that you and global investors are looking at? And do you see a gap? Are you among those? Or are some of the women in the room can go and talk to you after this session as advised by Adaori and approach you to say, I'm a woman entrepreneur, I have a woman-led business, come and invest in my company?
I'm not a sizable lender, but I can tell you, one of the best credits I have is a woman distributor who always given money with eyes closed. She does extremely well. But I will also say to you, one of the worst credit decisions I've made is to another woman. So I'm not, forgive me, I'm not as romantic, but about lending to women. But I am extremely drawn to women. The life of my father will never have been what it is without the guidance that my mom gave him. I can never understate the importance of women and what women can do. Now, if you permit me, one thing I would like to also leave with the house. If you go on the TED Talk, it is said that one of the biggest venture capital markets in the world is the Alaba market. If we nurtured enough the things that we birth in Africa, the Nwa Boy system should by now be a globally studied entrepreneurship and venture capital system. The only thing is that maybe because of the differences in emphasis on genders in Igbo land where it emerged from, it focuses almost exclusively on men. One of the things that system works. It works, so you need to see how people go through the Nwa Boy system, beat their chest, that failure is impossible. You are almost 99% certain to become successful if you go through the Nwa Boy system. I think Impact and those of us here, we need to find how we can replicate the Nwa Girl system. We need to find a way where women go and I am so enamored with that system. The humility. A guy is going to be sent off with significant capital in 5-6 years. He's so humble. If his master tells him that his bedroom is in the shop, that's where he sleeps for 5 years. And those things press down the cost of the business. The master isn't paying all of those costs. He works for 5 years, gets a lot of hand-holding. And the system ensures that the master lives up to his word of giving a lot of capital when it's time to go. The only problem is that this is now only being made to work for men. I can say to you that if we replicate this for women, it's going to be a huge capital infusion into how women make money. I think that's very important. The last thing I'd say is the other power of women is, now fintech is starting to compete with the banks in terms of serving consumers. And the way fintech works is that every card holder or everyone who is doing transactions is important. I mean, the unverified figure says one of the biggest fintech companies now has 68 million customers in Nigeria, bigger than any of the banks. It's important that the women who use OPay, use Momo, as we also organize, let's start organizing ourselves into cooperatives of people with accounts with those banks, because we can make demands. For those fintech companies, they place a lot more emphasis on small and micro enterprises than the big banks. So let's get leverage by saying 5,000 of us or 10,000 of us in this place have accounts with you and pay through you. When you start to pull money and you want to lend it, we should be number one on the line. And that's going to be very, very, very important. Those are some of the things that I think I'll add. But, one of the best names on our books in GDL is a lady. She has access to me all the time. She does such a great job. She keeps her books excellently. She monitors her figures. She's improving from year to year. So I think if we do a great job with women. The last thing I'll say, if you permit me, is coming in here. As I was saying, one sees a lot of fashion businesses, for example. What I know happened with fashion is that from the mid-'80s, once we went into the first economic shock with the structural adjustment program, this thing started. I think we need to also identify 1, 2, or 3 sectors where a lot of us are. And in addition to financial training, we need to now find what kind of training can mainstream our skills and our competencies in those businesses. Let me give you an example. African tailors have been calling themselves designers for like the last 30, 40 years. This is one of the few times where I'm wearing, I don't wear English dress, I wear kaftan. I mean 90% of the time I'm in kaftan. But we don't know what a size 9 kaftan is. We don't know what a size 10 kaftan is. But I know what a size 56 suit is. I know what a size 54 suit is. So if we are big in fashion, we need some kind of training to mainstream our skills and position us to make things that the big shops in the cities and the big export markets can buy. That's the kind of technical training I think we can get. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for this. And I'd like to then turn to now Fatima, and again, bouncing on your examples, because you like to refer to fashion entrepreneurs, so we'll keep on that example. If you're a fashion entrepreneur in the room now, you're banked, as we said, and you go to the Bank of Industry, what type of support can you provide to me as a fashion entrepreneur wanting to scale? What are the type of information you're going to ask of me? Because you mentioned earlier that sometimes there's also the financial literacy and the type of information. How prepared should I come to you to make sure I can access capital at scale and I can become that potential industrial fashion champion?
Okay, I couldn't be happier with the question, because this gives me an opportunity to sell what I do, and I'm happy to do that. Our gender business group is a bespoke group that was built just for women specifically. We have no limit finance-wise. We serve the small trader and we serve the big businesses. Wherever you are a woman and you have your business, please come to us. And you don't need to have anything at first, because you can walk in, talk to anybody. We can answer all your questions, tell you what you need. We can advise you, because it's also part of our job. In fact, it is so important to us that women are part of our 6 thematic areas in our corporate strategy. So it is very, very important. In addition to that, like our partnerships now with Impacta through Spectra Consulting, our partnership with NGX, we do a lot of partnerships. We believe in partnerships. We send our customers for training. We've done that. We do that. We'll continue to do that. So you walk to us. There is no limit to the funding you need. You can ask for advice. This is what I want to do. This is the size of my business. And we can even advise you on the amount so that you don't look for something beyond what you need and waste it. So that's the first step. You can walk in, talk to any of us. We can introduce you to consultants that can help you beyond what we can do. So there is no limit. The information is there. We are there, and we're in 33 states in the country. We're in Abuja. We're in Lagos. We have websites. These are just basic information. But for the women right here, small and medium enterprises, we currently have Glow now, and it is completely online. So you can all run. You don't need to hold my garment. You can all run and apply for Glow if you have a business. We cover almost every sector of the economy, and it is as good a value, long-term, low interest for all of you to go and apply. So you can approach me also and talk to me when we're done here. So we're here for you. I will keep trying. Please, women or women-led businesses, if you have a business that employs women, that encourages women to lead it, you can also come. So we're here.
Great. The website, people are asking for the website. Is that what I heard?
It's bankofindustry.ng, but I will share the link, and Impacta will share it also. So for all the
Great.
information and the link for Glow. Yes. And you can approach me as I come down. Please.
Perfect. And I will remember a quote. But maybe we can quote you. You said there's no limits, which is
Yes,
what
there
we
isn't.
love to hear,
There's
right?
no
From the
limits.
bank. There's
Small,
no limits.
Medium, big, large enterprise.
So, yes,
Yes,
we'll,
please.
we'll hold you to your word. Perfect.
No problem.
And last but not least, again, I would like to go back to you, Adaori, and from the gender lens investing perspective, what are the trends that you see that women entrepreneurs should be aware of and start positioning themselves for, even if sometimes they feel like they're not quite ready yet?
Thanks a lot. Before I touch on that, I would like to challenge Kolawole.
We love that. Go.
Yes, yes. Because it is what I do, right? It is to work with investors to strengthen the inclusive allocation of capital to women. I'm happy that you say one of your best clients, or one of your most profitable, I shouldn't say best, let's speak in business terms. One of your most profitable clients is a woman SME, a large distributor, and it's come for a repeat financing. I want that by next year, when you're on this panel, you can say 50% of your portfolio allocation is to women SMEs. Because it is possible. They are there. There's no reason why it should be one profitable, it should be only one business that you're able to speak about. There should be a systematic way to ensure that at first, you're constantly looking for this kind of businesses that can promote the participation of women in the economy. So that's a challenge to Mr. Kolawole. Impact her. Please hold him accountable to this. Thank you. Thank you. Because, again, you've just alluded to a very proven fact about women's creditworthiness, right? They have the lowest rate of non-performing loans in every financial institution that we have looked at. So you're leaving money on the table by not investing in them, okay? I like the point you also made about fintechs, and I'm also really proud to say that as IFC, in our work with fintechs, we are also pushing them, to get, a bit out of their comfort zone, find where the women are, because like you said, these are the channels where smaller credits can go to women. We know that a lot of women require smaller ticket loan sizes, credit sizes. So through the fintechs, we can do this at lower, shorter tenors and lower volumes. So thanks for mentioning that. Back to your question on trends. So there's, time is up. This is distracting me. I've seen it. Thank you. So let me just say two things because time is up. I had a couple of points to make. But in terms of trends, there's an increasing demand on responsible financing. There's an increasing demand on jobs, right? So as women SMEs, in terms of how you frame the narrative around your jobs, ensure that you're finding the linkage to jobs, you're finding the linkage to sustainability. I liked when, there was earlier in the day when people were giving their recap from yesterday, a lot of people mentioned what they learned about sustainability. Not to get into the details of that, but ensure that your business, you can tie it to these stories. And also ensure that you put in structures to be big. It doesn't matter where you start from. We're talking about the 40 million women SMEs in Nigeria, and how, 80% of those are nano and micro businesses. Now, whether you're nano, micro, small, at some point you're going to grow. You all desire to grow. So put in the structures now, so that as you grow, you're expanding sustainably. You're expanding in a way that if Kolawole comes to you and says, I want to invest in you, what do? You understand where your money is coming from. You understand what your money is doing in your business. You understand where money is going to, and you understand how you're making profit. Money doesn't go to emotions or to empathy. It's not driven by empathy. Capital flows to where it can have returns. So you need to be able to describe this to financial institutions or investors in a way that they understand. So if there's anything that I would say take away from here, is find those opportunities that help you to craft your business, hone your skills, and position yourselves for the next big move. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Indeed, I'm sorry, we've been told that time is up. I think we could go on for hours. This has been a very lively conversation, the very kind of conversation I love. I really want to thank our speakers for their time, their trust, and also their transparency and how frank they've been with each other. I think if there's one thing to take away from this session is really to know that the gap between women-led businesses and where the capital is flowing is not as wide as you might think it is. It requires preparation, it requires using the right language, presenting the right information, but you've got this. And thank you again. Thank you to our speakers and to Impact Her. My name is Vanessa Vovor, and it was a pleasure to moderate this session. Thank you.
Formation across Africa and global Africa. Permit me at the outset to extend my warm congratulations to the organizers, Impact Her, in partnership with the African Union and the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, for their vision, leadership, and steadfast commitment to convening a forum where policy, finance, enterprise, and sustainability converge in a purposeful and impactful manner. Your collective ability to bring together thought leaders, practitioners, and decision makers around the shared objective of advancing women's leadership and sustainable economic growth is both timely and commendable. I'm also grateful for the invitation extended to Afreximbank to join this distinguished platform and to contribute to this important and forward-looking dialogue. At Afreximbank, we are guided by one clear conviction: Africa's sustainable economic future and the full realization of the African Continental Free Trade Area will be deemed by how effectively we empower our small and medium-sized enterprises, and especially women entrepreneurs, to trade, to scale, and to lead. The AFCFTA is not an abstract aspiration. It is a practical test of whether African enterprises can produce competitively, trade seamlessly across borders, and retain value on the continent. Women-owned and women-led businesses already dominate critical sectors such as agribusiness, light manufacturing, services, creative industries, and technology. Yet, too many face structural constraints. There's limited access to finance, weak market linkages, inadequate trade infrastructure, and growing exposure to climate risks. If the AFCFTA is to deliver inclusive growth, women entrepreneurs must move decisively from the margins of trade into its mainstream corridors. This conviction underpins Afreximbank Exports SME development interventions, which deliberately integrates finance with capacity building and market access based on a simple insight: capital alone does not create exporters. Capability, connectivity, and confidence do. Let me assure you that Afreximbank's commitment goes far beyond programs and platforms. It is backed by capital at scale. In 2025, Afreximbank disbursed approximately $22.4 billion across Africa and the Caribbean, reflecting a significant scale-up in support for trade, industrialization, and economic resilience. This included expanded trade, finance, and SME-focused interventions that continue to channel liquidity to financial institutions, supporting thousands of SME sub-loans and advancing access to finance for women and youth-owned businesses across the bank's member states. These resources supported priority sectors such as manufacturing, creative industries, and technology, sectors that are decisive for value addition under the African Continental Free Trade Area. In addition, Afreximbank has committed $25 million to establish a venture fund that will provide equity, quasi-equity, and venture debt financing to high-impact early-stage ventures across global Africa. This is expected to be fully operational by Q4 2026, and the fund reflects our determination to support innovation-driven enterprises, many of them women and youth-led, shaping Africa's future industries. On capacity building, the results are tangible. In 2025 alone, Afreximbank trained around 3,600 SMEs through tailored incubator and accelerator programs under the Export SME Development Program. These interventions reached about 56 countries, with 45 in Africa and 11 in the Caribbean, reflecting our global Africa mandate. But training without markets delivers limited transformation. That is why market access sits at the heart of our SME agenda. In 2025, Afreximbank connected over 300,000 SMEs to new markets through export trading companies, industrial park linkages, and technology-enabled ventures. These platforms are enabling SMEs, particularly women-owned businesses, to plug into value chains that were previously beyond reach. A key enabler of this connectivity is our growing digital ecosystem, the Africa Trade Gateway, through platforms such as the Pan-African Payment Settlement Systems. Trader, a and diaspora markets is a strategic priority. Unlocking demand, skills, capital, and network for African women entrepreneurs. Our SME initiatives increasingly position women-led businesses to access diaspora-enabled trade and investment channels, strengthening two-way commercial flows between Africa and its global diaspora. I must also highlight the Creative Africa Nexus, which we call CANEX. This is a $2 billion initiative through which Afreximbank is championing Africa's creative economy. CANEX serves as a continental platform to harness Africa's exceptional creative talents, including its diaspora, and to transform a sector rapidly becoming a major driver of growth and youth employment. Through financing, capacity building, digital solutions, export development, investment promotion, and policy advocacy, spanning film, fashion, music, arts, sports, and gastronomy. CANEX is positioning African creativity as a global economic force. Distinguished guests, Africa will not achieve sustainable growth unless women entrepreneurs are empowered as producers, exporters, and employers. Afreximbank's work spanning capacity building for thousands of SMEs, market access for hundreds of thousands more, billions of dollars in trade-enabling finance and strategic platforms such as the CANEX and the Export SME Development Program, the Africa Trade Gateway, and the Venture Fund is about making inclusion operational and not rhetorical. The moment before us is not one for incrementalism. It is a moment for resolve. The African Continental Free Trade Area is now real. The talent of Africa's women entrepreneurs is undeniable. What remains is our collective decision to act with urgency and ambition. I therefore call on governments to dismantle structural barriers more boldly, on financial institutions to innovate more courageously, on developmental partners to scale what works, and on the private sector to open value chains with intention. And to the women entrepreneurs gathered here today, Africa's sustainable future is not waiting to be designed. It is already being built through your enterprises, your resilience, and your leadership. At Afrexim Bank, we stand ready to finance you, support you, and trade with you. Let us move forward together, turning policy into production, inclusion into leadership, and possibility into prosperity for women, for Africa. I'm yet to come. For women, for Africa, and for generations yet to come. Thank you.
opportunities to assess their own dreams and make it a reality. But before that panel, I would like us to turn our attention to the multimedia screens as we, of course, learn about access to finance, breaking barriers to finance. Thank you.
What does it mean to dream, but to be told no over and over again? Across Africa, the gender finance gap keeps millions of women entrepreneurs from reaching their potential.
I had a business that needed skills, customers, and determination. But banks wouldn't look past what I didn't have: collateral.
Without land titles and traditional assets, we are invisible to most banks despite running successful businesses.
When I applied for a loan, I remember that time, when I got my seemingly first ever big supply, LPU for big supply, I approached the bank and I was offered 25%, interest rate. And I was like, how can a small business survive with this kind of interest rate?
Across Africa, women are 30% less likely to access financial services than men. This isn't just a statistic. It's millions of dreams deferred. And despite myth about lending to women, Impactus data tells a different story. A 99.9% repayment rate.
After I discovered Impacta, they provided me with financial trainings. They also provided me with what I needed the most. They connected me to get a 0% interest rate loan without any collateral.
When I entered in for this program, Impacta, I experienced financial inclusion for the first time, where I was made to get a loan without any interest. No interest, as in 0% interest.
Before Impacta, I was excluded from the formal economy. But now, I have a business bank account, I have digital payment platform, and I also have a financial history. Impacta didn't just understand what we were going through, but it also provided solutions for every woman entrepreneur.
Walking into a bank felt like walking into rejection. They asked for collateral, they asked for guarantee. Things women like me never had. With the support from Impact Her team, I got linked to the local banks and I could then approach them without the guarantees, and I could use my customers that I had as the guarantee, and they could fund me and I could scale my business.
Impacta gave us the tools to break through, from the financing trainings, bookkeeping trainings, to even connecting us to get affordable loans.
When women entrepreneurs access appropriate financial services, the impact extends beyond business. Studies show they reinvest up to 9
different districts. What was once a struggle to feed my family is now a source of community employment.
I've increased my income, and now I contribute to reducing unemployment in society.
I have now mentored over 10 women entrepreneurs.
I feel financially included. For me, financial inclusion means being valued for my business potential, not judged by my lack of traditional collateral.
When we close the gender finance gap in Africa, we don't just transform individual businesses. We unlock $1 billion in untapped economic potential.
Did you know what it feels like for a woman without collateral, without a voice in the financial world, to hear yes? It unlocked a future that I thought was close to me.
Impact Her, closing the gender finance gap in Africa. One woman, one business, one community at a time.
Please, a round of applause for that. Thank you very much. Now, what better way to learn from someone who has been through the process herself, a pioneer for gender in Nigeria and representing women, everything women are first. You saw her earlier this morning. She came with so much energy, power, fire, and she's back to now take you on another special remark on finance. Can we please make it energetic? Please put your hands together, make welcome the pioneer, Honorable Mandate Secretary, Women Affairs Secretariat, Honorable Dr. Adebayo Benjamin Laniyi. Let's give her a clocket, please.
Ladies, what time is it? What? Can somebody help me clock it? And just right there where you did your clock, you just got clocked in. So earlier on, like I said, we're here to package the market and market the package. And you are the package. So that's why I say in packaging it, you shape it and you clock it. Today, I'd like to very properly, this is just very quick. The energy in the room was to synergize us. You energize. Oh, please, let's celebrate and welcome Her Excellency Dame Pauline Tallen, the very first female governor and also our female deputy governor in the Federal Republic of Nigeria, a woman of foremost representation for politics, but most importantly, second immediate past Minister of Women Affairs. Thank you very much. Once again, we appreciate and welcome you. So today, it's about inspiration to implementation. Everybody clock it for Mama. Clock it, clock it, clock it. Thank you very much. Yesterday, we all in this room and online gathered with purpose. The purpose that has been stated is a purpose where you are called not just to reinvent, to rethink, and to bring all of the review to your place of impact, but indeed it is to re-engineer sustainability in your sphere of impact and enterprise. So today, the challenge is for you to rise with direction and the DNA of a woman in enterprise. That is her distinction. You are not just here as a participant of this Green Conference. You are here as an architect of your own new economic reality. Your lived experience, your business experience, your collateral experience, or zero experience that brought you into this room is being rebased and recapitalized for global, sustainable, profitable legacy impact. It is not an option. You are representing a new bedrock foundation of African prosperity. And it doesn't have a gender reference, it's about a leadership reference. Much more than a gender agenda, this conference itself stands as a catalyst. You are here to be catalyzed, to become the empowered transformer from the place of your idea, innovation, to the place of your legacy. Green industrialization, innovation, inclusive growth begins with you and becomes continental, diasporal, global. Today, as you're challenged to move beyond the rethink of yesterday to re-event and to regenerate. We are referring to the gene that is in you. The gene of the woman in business is her genius. And that is why in Africa, the Africa woman is the one who set up the African marketplace. I can prove it. From the farms to the house where she went to seed and harvest as 1, 2, 3 wife or girl child. One day she had to put baby on her back, carry the basket with the yam, and go to the market. And that is why in Africa we have market days. We set up the African marketplace. And today, in talking about that African marketplace, you are the market women. This market that you are presenting is not a market of survival. It's a market that is setting up and breaking down the barriers and setting up new pipelines, as we just heard in the panel. The truth is, African women do not lack ideas. We are ideas personified. African women do not lack resources. We are the resource from our wombs to the timelines of our own intervention. African women do not lack women with the courage to lead. You are called to lead from where you are, with what you have, with what you do, with what your hand can sow, and what your hands, together with your other women of reference, can harvest. That is the woman rethinking economic dimensions. So today you've been challenged to build intentionally, to build structure, to build infrastructure, to become Mwa girls, the girls who make a difference. Because for every woman, there's a girl in her, and there's a dream in that girl, and the dream in that girl cannot be put to sleep. It's time to wake up. To do what? Somebody clock it and say, wake it up. The power of the clock that you are called to, the alarm that wakes you up, is not the alarm of the clock, it's the alarm of you, your idea, and the time of your dream to come through. Not just true, but through. Through what? Through what today the engine of green transformation and this renewed agenda of the Africa Woman in Sustainable Development is presenting you at this conference. Yes, our conversation today must become capital. Your network today must become a new market with the technology that drives it, that skills it, that scales it, that clocks it. Innovation into scalable enterprise. Passion into policy-backed impact. Humanitarian action is zero until it is done with humanitarian ideas, commitment, and deliverables. Today, therefore, women are being challenged from this room, from this commitment to climate-smart agriculture, circular economy enterprise, renewable energy solution, sustainable manufacturing and trade, whether it's akpu from cassava or that which from akpu becomes biofuel. You are the fuel, the DNA that makes it work. Your pipelines today are turning what is a climate challenge into climate championship, because women in Africa, beginning from the village, from where you are, will not just make the difference, you will advocate as the difference in that space. Today, in conclusion, therefore, it's not just another conference day. This is a working session for the Africa Woman's green future. The green belongs with her. And we are not green with envy. We are green with wisdom to recapitalize the place of our structure. As I close, I just want to state this. Distinguished leaders, partners, fellow builders of Africa's future, our hostess to the mostess, Efe Ukala, thank you once again. Everybody thank her once again. Today's truth for this capital shift moment is a truth we must confront, honestly and urgently. It's not about speaking truth to power. The power is you, the power is me. So let's ask ourselves, in the scale of capital flowing to women, what has not matched the scale of effort? What are we missing? You are the one. Our mindsets, our value sets, our DNA, because capital doesn't move to effort, it moves to structure. Capital is not emotional, it's emotionally intelligent. It does not reward how hard you try. It responds to systems that are organized, aggregated, and scalable. Women who know what to do, who sabi, go do the thing with them sabi. So, having said that, think it, be it, do it, and thank you.
Very phenomenal speech right there from Honorable Dr. Adedayo Benjamin. Can we please do better as she takes her seat right now? Thank you so much. Let me just pick a few words from what she has said. The DNA that makes it work, that makes Africa work, is right here. They're here. That's you. So she said, the power is in me and the power is in... Exactly. One more time. When I say the power is in me, the power is in you, you do what? You clock it. All right, so let's go. The power is in me and the power is in you. Fantastic. Thank you. One more time. Put your hands together now for yourself. And now for the very long panel session we've been waiting for. Where can women find the money? Because young dreamers like you and I need money to establish our dreams, our goals. Exactly. So this is where we learn the strategies to getting it right and financing your sustainable business. Because at Impact Her, it's all about sustainability. For the very first speaker on this panel session, please join me make welcome a Council Asset and Corporate Finance Practice Group, KBL Gates LLP, Enia John. Please put your hands together for Enia John. Thank you very much. One more time, ladies and gentlemen, we have Enia John. And up next in the panel session, we have the MD and CEO, the Financial Institutions Training Center, FITC Nigeria, Dr. Chizo Malize. Please put your hands together for Dr. Chizo Malize. She's, of course, having a fun time right now, but she'll join us on stage. But let's move ahead. The next is the Divisional Head, Retail and SME, Wema Bank, Nigeria, Ayodele Olojede. Please make it better for Ayodele, the Divisional Head, Retail and Small Medium Enterprises, Wema Bank. Once again, I will bring up on stage the MDCO Financial Institutions Training Center, Dr. Chizo Malize. Please, one more time, a round of applause. Thank you. And now, allow me to bring up the president and the founder, Impact Her, Efe Ukala. Please make it better. Efe has put all of this together, which you know, bringing all of us from across different countries to be here, you know, making this all happen. So please, one more time, celebrate this woman with a vision. Bold, daring, vibrant. Thank you. I'm sure Abuja sun is not even as hot as she's looking right now. Plus the lights. Do you agree? One more time, celebrate her, please. Thank you very much, distinguished guest. Now, next up on the list, we have the CEO, Mazane Foods, Impact Her beneficiary, I beg your pardon. Please put your hands together for Mariam Yakubu. And now moderating this session where women can find the money is a woman who has also lived the process. Make welcome Dr. Barbara. Please put your hands together for Dr. Barbara.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this highly anticipated session at this very important conference. My name is Dr. Barbara, and I am delighted to guide this conversation and be a moderator for this session. Our topic today addresses one of the most pressing questions facing women entrepreneurs across Africa and beyond. Where can women find the money, strategies to get financing for your sustainable businesses? We often hear brilliant ideas, innovative solutions, and inspiring visions. But without access to financing, even the most promising sustainable businesses can struggle to grow or scale. Access to funding is not just about capital. It is about opportunity, equity, and the ability to transform ideas into lasting impact. In this session, we will explore practical strategies and position sustainable businesses to attract investors. We're joined by an outstanding group of panelists who bring deep experience in financing, investment readiness, and business growth. We'll begin to introduce our esteemed panelists. Joining us today is F.A. Ukala, President and founder of Impact Her, an award-winning organization dedicated to helping African women entrepreneurs across markets, capacity building, and financing to scale their businesses. Impact Her has empowered thousands of women-led enterprises across Africa, bridging the gap between potential and opportunity. Next, I am honored to welcome Enya Gyan, Counsel in the Asset and Corporate Finance Practice Group at K&L Gates LLP USA, where she advises clients on complex financial transactions and corporate finance matters across global markets. Her work spans multiple sectors, contributing to high-value transactions that drive business growth and investment. We are also honored to welcome Dr. Chizo Malize, a distinguished business leader and Director General of the Financial Institutions Training Center, a leading West Africa innovation-led consulting institution providing executive capacity development and advisory services to financial institutions and top-tier organizations across Africa. We are also honored to welcome Ayo Alojede, Divisional Head of Retail and SME Banking at Wema Bank, where she leads innovative financial solutions powered by Alert and Alert for Business, Nigeria's first fully digital bank. Help me in welcoming Mrs. Miriam Yakubu Yana, founder and CEO of Mainstream Limelight Limited, producers of Mezaine Foods, a fast-growing agro-processing company focused on delivering nutritious, ready-to-cook food products that promote healthier lifestyles and combat malnutrition. A recognized leader in Nigeria's agro-processing sector, she contributes to national policy as a member of the Standard Organization, Nigeria's Technical Committee on Food Standards. We are honored to have you here, all our panelists. Thank you for joining us. First question is going to Enya Gyan. And we would like to know, what are the common legal and structuring mistakes women entrepreneurs make when seeking funding, and how can they avoid them?
Thank you, Barbara, for that question. Hello, everyone, and thank you for coming. So I am going to talk about the most common mistakes generally, because I don't think that the mistakes that are made are strictly legal, but are strictly, they're really more intuitive than they are legal. So I think the motto is opportunity favors the prepared. And the biggest mistake that I see as somebody who represents both borrowers and lenders, I see where lenders decide or investors decide to pull back, or where maybe a borrower is not successful, or a business owner is not successful in getting support from investors, is because they're not prepared. I think, lacking in intentionality, lacking in preparation, and lacking in organization are the #1 reasons why people get turned away or investors walk away without making any investment at all. And I'm going to give you examples for each. So for intentionality, for example, I like to give the example of relationship management. Relationship management is very intentional and is very important because most capital or most money has people behind it. So whether you are dealing with a big financial institution whereby they are looking to invest pension money that belongs to other people, or maybe it's a mid-sized commercial bank and you're dealing with a relationship manager there, or maybe you are dealing with a family member or a friend in the diaspora who has maybe a few $1,000s that they want to invest and save and diversify, you're dealing with people. And building credibility becomes extremely important. And you can do so by, building that trust by communicating early about any potential problems, communicating frequently, communicating clearly. So, for example, if you did get a bank from a bank to give you a bank loan, and for whatever reason, maybe your cash flow is not what it should be that particular month or that particular quarter, instead of avoiding a conversation, it's always best to lead with the conversation, to be able to control the narrative and sort of come to an agreement instead of avoiding a conversation. Next, I would talk about preparation. I think preparation is so important because anytime you approach anybody prepared, whether you're approaching a bank, whether you're approaching an independent investor, they want to know that a business is important to you. They want to know that them as an investor, you're respecting their time, respectful of what they bring to the table, and they want to know that you can be trusted. And there's nothing that says you can be trusted more than being prepared. Being prepared is an example of being prepared is being educated, for example. And nowadays, there's plenty tools to educate yourself. There's AI. You can use ChatGPT to get general information. You can even watch YouTube, TikTok videos to give yourself basic knowledge to show interest and preparation. And the last thing I would say on that point in terms of avoiding mistakes, like common sense type mistakes, is being organized. And we're going to delve fully tracking important information, like the money that's flowing in and out of your bank account, and you're paying your taxes and getting all the permits and licenses you need, etc. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Gan, for that very insightful perspective. So the next question will be for Dr. Chizo Malize. From your work with banks and financial institutions, what are the most common reasons women-owned businesses are declined for financing?
Right, thank you very much. I'd like to start with saying it's an honor and a pleasure to be in this room filled with this number of women doing great things. But it's bigger pleasure to be able to have the opportunity to join EFE and this incredible vision that has recorded 10 years of magnanimous growth. It's just so incredible what the vision that she had to start this has translated, and I find that commendable. So I'm very delighted to come back again. All right, having said that, with the work that we do as the managing director of FITC, which is the Financial Institution Training Center, an organization that is an entity of the Central Bank of Nigeria, oftentimes we help businesses, both in the financial service sector and their allied businesses, to grow structure, to grow people, to develop capacity, to build businesses, to provide advisory services. And so over the years, we have seen the way it is both for the institutions in the financial service sector, working hard to help other businesses grow, because the business of bank is to support and grow other businesses. But I can tell you for free that even though women own the biggest number of businesses, especially within the small and medium scale, they get the least advantage in terms of funding and access to finance. And so men who found the smaller number of businesses by virtue of ratio and percentage are always able to get in the room and get what they want. When you're speaking at the ones that are exporting or traveling out of Africa to found new businesses, oftentimes they are men. And then you're thinking about the women who actually build the biggest number of business in terms of number of businesses that are engaging and employing other people is the women. And so the question is, are we really here to improve ourselves so that we can position for the best? I do think that for Impact Her creating this platform, it's important we go with significant messages. And so for our women, I would like to start with the most fundamental. The most fundamental is vision. A lot of times when women start out, it is often about, oh, I don't want to continue to do something, just staying at home or doing 9 to 5. I want to start something of my own. What's that something? Define how big you want to go from the day you want to go. Because vision is a starting point for everything. Let's not always say, oh, I just want to start something. Because even when women are looking for money, they just want to start something. Think about it from the family perspective before you go to the bank perspective. Define your vision and pen it down, because even the Bible says that to us. Think it, dream it, pen it. It's a good fundamental start point. Then the second is also structure. Sometimes it is okay to start, but as we are growing, women must learn that the business must have structure. It is okay to start as the chief marketing officer, chief visionary, CEO, finance, and salesperson. But whichever role, even if we are carrying all of them, have a structure that details what this person is supposed to be doing. And then as we grow, let's create that structure very officially. Oftentimes I like to speak about my work in FITC, but I also like to speak from a very personal experiences. I ran a consulting firm that I founded for 10 solid years. In my first missionary journey with IFE, I was the managing partner of a consulting firm that I founded and offered business advisory to huge amount of organizations across diverse sectors for 10 solid years. I can tell you what, I had a business plan even before I started. So I did not just start because I wanted to go into that. I spent 3 months writing my business plan with the best of the industry, and I had a blueprint. And so I knew what was going to happen in my first year, my second year, my third year, my fifth year. By the third year, we had aced it and marked and checked every single thing we were going to do in 5 years. So planning is very, yeah, you can clap to that if you want. Because it's important. So planning is very critical. And we must not just plan in our head. If we are not able to engage the services of a business planner, a business development or business consultant, kindly see that you do it with somebody who understands it and gives you a blueprint that you can say, I am checking the boxes. Then it is in that plan that the structure would emanate. It is in that plan that your finances will emanate, that you know that by end of year one, I want to be able to make 10 million, 5 million, 8 million, 100 million, or 500 million. If the planning is just in our head and we do not document, then we would never have anything that we are checking against. The other is, please, it's important that we are able to present documents that speak to our finances. Even if our revenue position is at 1 million, or 100 million, or 200 million, have a document that speaks to it, whether it's the bank statement, whether it's the finance, And I'll tell you what I did in the early years when I started consulting and running my own business. I ensured that I got an audit firm to audit us. And then it's so easy to think you have to be very big to get an audit firm. I can give you the names of 5 audit firms before I leave this room that no matter the size of your business, they'll take you on. What they do is that as external parties, they come in frequently and ask you the right questions. And you know what it is? So long as there's somebody who is coming around to check you, we oftentimes keep ourselves looking good, true or false. So outsource audit. Outsource it to the extent that there is somebody who is able to look into your books and tell you you're doing the wrong thing. As a matter of fact, by the first year, we actually had tax consultants. We were very delighted that the audit firm had a tax arm, and we said to them, make us look good. We do not want Lagos State government coming to shut us down. Women, it's all important. And I'm just saying this from the depth of my heart that I've walked the journey, and it's all doable. If you've got your audit, and if you've got your bank statement, and you've got your audit, and you've got your tax documentations done well, everybody will borrow you. Because they'll see that you're structured, they'll see that you're organized, they'll see that you've got what it takes. Oftentimes, it's not because you have made so much money that you get the money from the bank, but it's because that you've got documentations, you've got records, and you are able to show your potentials. But I'll stop here for now so that we can hear others. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Dr. Chizo, for that clarity on the question that was asked. So my next question will be for Ms. Ayodele Olojede. So from a banking perspective, what makes a woman-led business fundable?
All right, thank you very much. And to Impact Her, thank you very much for the opportunity to be here today. I'm very excited to be part of this conversation. First and foremost, I want to say that Wema Bank is one of the foremost bank in the context of gender. And I say this because the bank has been very intentional by creating a dedicated team that looks after everything gender. When Adaori was here, she said that a lot of organizations are asking, where are the women? In Wema Bank, we don't ask for the women. I'm personally somebody who advocates for more inclusive finance on the supply side, which is where I work. And what that means is that we are intentionally looking for women. You don't have to hold the hem of my dress. I am looking for you. And how do we do it? We do this through 4 C's approach. 4 C's being starting from helping to build confidence. From confidence, you're able to build capacity. And from capacity, you're able to build from capacity, you're able to build competence, and from competence, you can be part of a community and ecosystem that recognizes you. In the last 18 to 24 months, we've been able to give out about 249 billion to just women. So yes, we are looking for you. Please clap, clap. Thank you. To the question, the specific question that you asked, what is it that makes a woman fundable? Honestly speaking, just being a woman, we will fund you. However, and I think that has been mentioned a couple of times here, capital is not responding to emotions. There are some things that you also have to do, for the bank to be attracted to you. So the first thing and the most fundamental is that you keep your records, whether you're keeping it, you're writing it, wherever it is that you're writing it, but it has to be visible. And that it has to be visible to us financial institutions. And so we are always encouraging and working with women to get them to be part of the formal financial system, because with just making sure that we can see what you're doing in your bank statement, you can get funding. And we can give you funding for as low as 50,000, funding as high as 1 billion, depending on the capacity that you have been able to build by yourself. So what is it that I'm saying? That we would be able to work with you once we have visibility on what it is that you're doing. But speaking about that visibility itself, there's a program that we are pushing out into the market now that we call cluster lending, because we have come to the realization that we have thousands of women, millions of women in the micro segment. And this variable that I just mentioned is a big challenge keeping that record, being visible towards the financial system. So what it is that we're doing is that we're bringing banking to their own ecosystem. We're plugging into what it is that they're already comfortable doing, what it is that works for them. You know, especially women who trade in the market, we found that a large number of them do not even want to come into the banking system. They even trust the Isusu man more than they trust the banker. Yes. So what it is that we're trying to do is that we're trying to also work with that ecosystem, the Isusu ecosystem, the market women ecosystem, to configure a program that looks like what they are familiar with, what they are comfortable with, and then help them to become visible. So when we talk about financial inclusion these days, it's not so much about women not opening an account. They are opening their account, but what about usage? And usage, requires that you're disciplined in the amount of money that you're keeping in the bank, in the consistency of the way that you're putting money in your account. And so using your saving history on its own, the bank can give you funding. Today we have a lending platform, a digital lending platform as well, that has been configured. The algorithm has been configured to even recognize when a woman is applying. And when that happens, automatically you get concessions in your pricing. Automatically you also get access to free HMO, because we know that health is very critical to the sustenance of your business. So what is it that makes you to be fundable? The most fundamental is that we want what it is that you do, your finances, to be visible. And we are willing and very happy to work with you to be able to build that capacity, to be able to build that competence for you to be part of the community that would continue to benefit funding from the bank. Wema Bank specifically this time. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that very impactful perspective. So we will be taking the next question. We'll be addressing the next question to Efe Ukala. So, as the founder of Impact Her, what challenges did you face in securing funding opportunities for Impact Her women?
A lot of implicit bias sometimes. We have people that, you talk to them and they say, oh, no, if a woman walks in, I would definitely do the same I do for a man. But a lot of times behind that, there is that, implicit bias. You want to fund or you want to associate with maybe someone that looks like you, talks like you, from your culture. It's not all intentional. So sometimes capital flows through implicit bias. So one of the challenges I would say that I faced or continue to face with Impact Her is when they start conversations with me and I show up, they don't expect me. They think maybe I'm the secretary or I'm someone else. They have this image of who they want to see. So that is where, you kind of see this change in body language. Are you really Efe? Yes, I am, right? So that already sort of shifts the conversation a little bit because it takes them time to adjust. So a lot of women face it, and I believe there's a Harvard study that actually showed that. I think a survey was done between investors to understand if they were funding the same women the same way they were funding men, and the answer came out that no, they weren't. Men were funding more men than they were funding women. That is another implicit bias, because if you had conversations with those investors, they were going to tell you, oh, no, we also give women a chance, right? So I think sometimes knowing that and walking into that room could help you, and that is why, for me, I know when I show up a lot of times, people expect someone else, maybe bigger, maybe taller, I'm not sure. As a result of that, what I've turned that challenge into an opportunity, which is do the best work, full stop. Not do the best work as a woman or do the best work as you have to do the best work. And to do the best work, you have to ensure that you have your structures in place, like Dr. Chizo spoke about. You have to make sure that you can speak to your organization. I've met a lot of women that can't even speak to what they do. Or when I ask them the numbers, you know, what is your runway right now? They're like, what is that? I need to call my accountant. No, you have to know some of these things on the tip of your fingers so that people can understand competency while they're still confused about who just appeared, right? So that is also something that I have used or utilized to ensure that despite the fact that there are these implicit biases, there are, why would I fund a nonprofit? You know, all this host of questions. Who are you? I don't know you. You are not one of the big names that we've heard of. All of that tends to happen, but you have to ensure you're turning it around for your own benefit. So look yourself in the mirror. Be honest with yourself. What would people see? What doesn't work for you? If you stammer, you have to maybe practice to talk slowly, right? What doesn't work for you? Because people are not necessarily funding businesses. People are funding people that they like. People are funding people they see. And obviously your paperwork has to match that, which I don't want to repeat because Dr. Chizo has gone through that. So please, ladies, do not use those disadvantages as, you know, the end of the journey. Don't think it's the end of the journey. A door shut doesn't mean that that door can't be broken down. Understand yourself better and use that to work in your favor.
Thank you so much. That connects beautifully to what Ms. Ayodele had stated earlier on. So my next question will be for Ms. Yakubu. Before Impact Her, what was the biggest barrier preventing you from accessing finance?
Okay, thank you. First of all, I'd like to say thank you to Impact Her for being here, and also it's a great honor to be on the same stage with Ife and the rest of the panelists. So before Impact Her, I had food processing business in Kebbi State, Northwest Nigeria, and we had no structure. We had no structure, and we had nothing, literally. We had nothing. We were just starting. And I started from my kitchen, actually, from my kitchen with just 5,000 naira. And we're just struggling to learn more about the business because from what I studied in university, it's actually not what I'm currently doing, right? So we had to study, we had to learn, we had to go to YouTube to search and see how most of these things are done, because I had no experience and I had nobody to mentor me. So it was just us on our own when we started.
All right, thank you so much.
I'm sorry, I need to mention, so she mentioned she started in her kitchen. She just opened a factory, correct? In Kebbi State. And she exports already thousands of containers. So I just wanted to highlight that because I didn't want her to miss it, and I want other women in the room to be encouraged.
Thank you very much. Okay, I was actually getting to that. When we started, I was doing everything. I was the producer, I was the marketer, I was the accountant, I was everything. And currently, yes, currently, we have over 200 staffs. If we have large production, yes.
Fantastic, fantastic results. So the next question will be for Ms. Gan. What practical legal steps should women take to make their businesses more attractive to lenders and investors?
Thanks, Barbara. Can you all hear me? So I guess I'm just going to deep dive into that other point that I mentioned before when I said get organized. There's several different things that you can do to make yourself more investor ready. For example, having proper structure, proper documentation, clear financial tracking, and tracking your assets. And tracking your assets becomes very, very important because it determines how much you pay for money if you go the borrowing route. If you're going to borrow money, keeping track of, okay, if I'm in the manufacturing business and I have inventory in the form of perishable goods, how much of that do I actually have? How much of that do I sell at a time? How much of that is like, paid using credit, for example, so that I have receivables coming in, versus how much of that is cash on hand that I can use as collateral for this extra money that I'm going to borrow. Part of that system of tracking your assets also involves soft assets like your brand, for example. Have I done things to protect my brand, like applying for a trademark or copywriting certain things to make sure that I have even more value and nobody can easily copy me and reduce the value of what I bring to the market? In terms of proper structure, I think there's two main things that go into it. The first one has been talked about already and is pretty obvious. Register your company, have a proper corporation, limited corporation available. The second, really, that's structure-based, is decide who is doing what in your company. So, for example, one issue that we face often when we're dealing with smaller businesses that are finally coming to market, a lot of times you may meet an investor that is ready to invest in your business, but because you got into business in the beginning with your sister, say, or with your cousin, risks surrounding who is the decision maker, right? If we go ahead and write this check for you, who are we holding accountable? So those are the things that you can take care of upfront as partners in a business to sort of decide who is doing what. If we had somebody right now to write a check for us, who do we present as the leader of our vision, and who is giving our business strategic direction? And then another example of financial tracking, and something you can do right away if you've not already done it: open a bank account. Open it for yourself personally or for your family. Have a system so that, if you take your finances to the bank, it can clearly show that this is money coming from the business, this is money coming out from the business, and it can be properly tracked, because that leads to credibility and trust, and people can know that, okay, if you're saying, for example, you get 100,000 per week or whatever from your business, I can truly track that it was truly 100,000 last week, the week after it was 250, etc., because you're not commingling with other funds. Other things that you need in place, for example, is if you are making claims, any kind of claims. For example, I've worked with this ex-supplier for 5 years. I can depend on them to provide my raw material. If you have actual contracts in place that you can show the bank to say, here's my contract with so-and-so, there's 3 years left on this contract, every single month they're supposed to provide X, then that looks very good for you. Or if you have clients that are, purchasing your product or that you're working with, for example, like, I'll give an example, maybe you're a caterer, and you say, generally, in the month of December, weddings are very popular, and generally I get, 4 or 5 contracts. You go ahead and track that information to say, from last wedding season, these are the 4 or 5 weddings that I did, and I can expect to do about the same this season, and it makes you easier to fund that way. You should also have paperwork that's in order. So if in a more informal situation, you may not even be thinking about, do I owe the government any taxes for the money that I'm earning now, or are there any licenses needed to open my shop where I'm opening it? Once you're ready to get bigger financing, those things become very important, because nobody wants to fund a business or an organization that's not in compliance with the law. So those are some of the things you have to think about as well, to say, for the type of income that I'm getting right now? Am I at a level where I should be paying taxes? And if I am, have I been paying all my taxes and staying in compliance? And then financial tracking, I think everybody said a little bit more about this before, so I don't have to beat it over the head. Open a bank account, keep your finances separate, basic financial statements, basic comparisons to say, like, you know, if you want to show your business is growing, if you're able to afford an auditor that is able to do that for you, that's amazing. If you're not yet at that place, maybe think about a way to track your revenue, right? To be able to clearly show to somebody very quickly that while I made maybe 150,000 last year, here's proof that I made 200,000 this year. And then lastly, I think we talked about it before, like tracking your assets, just understanding the agenda of the person that's going to be investing in you or lending to you. As a business owner, you have your vision. As a person who's giving away money, there's nobody ever who doesn't have an agenda. If you get a grant from Impact Her, that's because Impact Her wants to be able to put you on a banner one day and use you for an example to say, hey, we gave this check to this business. Look at them now 5 years later. Look at all the people that they're employing. Look at all of the people that they're inspiring. Look at all the people that are about to do the same because they saw your work. So that is their agenda. If you get somebody to give you a bank loan, it could be two agendas. It could be just, oh, I want to earn interest from you, so I'm going to charge you some interest. You do your business, make sure you make enough money to pay me back. It could be somebody who has a different agenda, who really, really likes what you have or what you do, and they'll say, well, let me take collateral in your assets. Give me, you know, if you don't pay me back, you give me your business. So that's a different agenda. You could have an equity investor who is like, wow, look, I know nothing about making beautiful handbags, but I see a future in what you're doing, and I want a piece of that future. So I don't want to give you a loan. I want to get a little bit of equity so that when you do well, I do well. Or it could be somebody who's maybe an international organization like the IFC or somebody of the sort who is like, you know, look, we care about sustainability. We care about a green environment. You are engaging in a business that is going to make us look good, that's going to advance our purpose as an organization, so we're going to go ahead and work with you. So those are some of the things you can think about. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Gyan, for that detailed information. Let's explore this from another perspective. So, Dr. Chizo, please, maybe in like a minute or a minute and a half, can you tell us what practical steps can women entrepreneurs take immediately to present themselves as credible and fundable businesses?
Thank you very much. Just 30 seconds for each of it. Practical steps in 30 seconds each, like we had.
Yes.
Number one is credibility. Build credibility by ensuring that your financial statement is reflecting who you are. Some women have the same financial statement that has the purchase of Louis Vuitton bag and the purchase of tickets to Togo and the purchase of tickets for holiday, all of them inside of the business. And if you present that to the bank, they are actually looking at your lifestyle. What it simply means is that half the money is probably going to go into the things that you buy for yourself and not the things you put into the business. Then the second is another C, which is very critical, communication. In the past, people used to say, ask Google. If anybody wants to know who you are, they would go online, search for you. How much reflection are you online, digitally? The least that we can do if we cannot have a website is to have ourselves present on all of the social media platforms. Because if anybody checks you out, they'll find you, they'll find your business, they'll know who you are. So communicate, communicate, communicate. Leverage all the digital media. Do not say, oh, I don't like social media, or I like Facebook. Oh, I don't like to post my story. Post your story. The first award I ever got out of Nigeria, people read about me on Twitter, and I got on a board of a company that is based in New York. The third, which is also another C, thank you very much for that. The third, which is also another C, is connectivity. connection, connection, connection. Build a connection of huge number of followers because you are building yourself up by telling your story. When you tell your story, people would follow you. My dear sister Miriam, I'm so proud of you. But I'm leaving this for you as much as I'm leaving for the room. Women are often very shy of telling their story. For you to build communication and connection, you must be proud to tell your story. I cannot sit on this stage and I don't start to talk about my story about the factory that I have built that is importing 200 containers on a yearly basis. It's not just because you want to motivate people, but also because you want to sell your story. Women, stop being shy. Tell your story. Whatever that it is, absolutely. Men do 2 and speak 20. Women do 100 and speak 2. Women, tell your story. Tell your story to inspire yourself. Tell your story to inspire others. Tell your story to be able to connect with the people who will take you to your next best level. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Chizor, for that powerful perspective on actually the practical steps that women entrepreneurs can take immediately. So the next question will be for Ms. Ayodele Olojede. I would like for you to build on the points that Dr. Chizor has mentioned by telling us how many SMEs cite collateral. Many SMEs cite collateral as a major barrier. How is Wema Bank innovating to provide more inclusive financing options?
Thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes,
yeah,
please.
Okay, thank you very much. Honestly speaking, collateral is not a requirement for you to be able to get lending. And now I'm going to explain exactly what I mean. There's a saying that money without financial intelligence is money soon gone. So really what banks are looking for is that they are looking for a recourse when, for whatever reason, most of the time if it's because you lack the capacity to manage your business, they want something that they can fall back on to be able to get their money. After all, the money are other people's money. However, to the question about how we are innovating, what we have done is to be able to replace that collateral with other proxies, which is information. And that's something that we have spoken about very exhaustively, in this conference and even on just this panel. That if we have information about who you are, about your business, about the discipline that you have been able to build into your business, we would give you loan without asking you for collateral. I've talked about the platform that we have built to be able to support SMEs and most especially women. It's collateral free. And you can access that funding from the comfort of your home within 2 minutes. That's how good it is. I've talked about the cluster lending program that we're also building. I didn't see anything about collateral. We just want to be able to see a discipline and consistency that the first, you see, when people have ideas, the first beneficiary of your idea is you. If your business grow, she just shared her story now to inspire all of us. And I'm sure she's also very proud of what it is that she has achieved, right? The rest of us as stakeholders are interested because we see that you're taking very deliberate and intentional steps to grow and to be successful. We would come after you. And I tell people all the time, I have a target to be able to bring in loans to the bank. So I'm looking for people to give loans to. But I also want to see that you have been intentional in building your capacity, that you yourself, bank or no bank, you want to grow. If you want to grow, I want to also be part of your success story. I want you to tell, when you're telling your story, I want you to talk about the bank that have also supported and facilitated your growth. So what is it that we're looking for? We're looking for those proxies. And we'll see those proxies in what the visibility you provide to us. The cash flow, I think we've talked about how banks need to be able to pivot to cash flow lending. We're already doing that. And we've been doing that for a very long time. We are not asking women up to 15 million, depending on what it is that we see, depending on your repayment capacity. So we've given you, say, 5-10 million before, you have paid back successfully. We will give you more. Up to 50 million, you can get collateral free. Up to 5 million, you can get without walking into the bank. And then I think up to about 500,000, 1 million, working with the
the micro entrepreneurs. Without them coming into the bank, we are building around that ecosystem that they already have. We're just saying participate. We're just saying show that you show the discipline in your finance. Show that you don't have to be educated, right? You just want financial discipline. Is not about having have a degree or anything. You just want to be able to show that I can just, even from savings, we're even using proxies, alternate data to be able to assess you, to be able to get funded. So we're not so hung up on collateral. In fact, if you have this building and we're not seeing some of these things that I've just mentioned, you are not likely going to get that money because nobody trained me on how to sell properties. I'm not a real estate person, but I understand money. And like she said, depending on the information we see in your bank statement, we can tell the kind of person that you are. We can tell what it is that you do with money that will come into you. And we can tell that if we give you this loan, what you will do is to go on vacation. So we will not give it to you. And that's not collateral. So there's so much that we can do working together to be able to grant loans to women without asking them for collateral. And it takes two to tango. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Olajide. I'd like to invite Ms. Efe Ukala to weigh in as well. What policy changes or initiatives would you recommend to enhance access to financing for African women?
Great. Raise your hand. You don't belong to any group. I don't see any hands raised. That is something that we could think creatively about. How do we understand that a woman could show up at a financial institution, she stands alone, you don't know her, but she has a community that backs her. She has her church association, she has her business association, whatever it is. You can go to her village and find a group of women that would say, we know her, we will back her. So can we think creatively about how we can fund those women as groups more and more? I know our foremothers had Isusu, and I think in Southern Africa it's Asusu or something else. This is where the women come together with a pot of money and lend to each other week by week or month by month, which is fantastic, and it helped train a lot of our mothers and generations. Fantastic. But how can we think about bringing that into the modern age where we have a lot of internet banking now, we have a lot of data. So I think we can push ourselves a bit further to figure out how do we utilize women's network as a collateral that the woman needs to get access to funding, as opposed to that individual woman showing up and needing to show just herself. I think there could be power in that. Secondly, what I would also love to see as we continue to build out in the sustainability world is specific allocation to women in the green tracks. I know some banks are doing it, which is amazing, but we need to see more intentionality around that. We need to see more of that. We need to, and that would also encourage women to get on those tracks because it is expensive to go green. I am not going to sit here and tell you it's the easiest thing in the world. Those certifications that are needed to get your goods as a green business into Europe are expensive. So we need to figure out how can we get allocations and even blended financing to help support that. What I mean by blended financing is where the banks come in, as well as the grants allocated for green. You know, you want to export green. I see Mrs. Neuer in the room. We want to export green. How are we carving out? And that's Nigerian Export Control Agency, by the way. How can we ensure that we are making those tracks dedicated sectors so that women can participate, get a certification they need at a lower cost without breaking their back? So I hope that answers some.
Yes, thank you so much. Those are great points and valid for the next level that that women should be expected in advancing their business. So I would like to hear briefly from Ms. Miriam Yakubu, maybe under probably maybe like 1 minute. What would you say to women in this room who feel intimidated by the funding process?
Okay, I'd like to start by saying we got a $500 grant from Impacta because we decided to put in the work. We got training from Impacta. Impacta is like a one-stop shop for all female entrepreneurs. I think you need to clap for them. It's a one-stop shop for all female entrepreneurs. And after we got the 500, that was what we used to start growing. We didn't just put it into anything. Our first industrial equipment, which was a industrial selling machine, which was what we needed at that time. We bought more pouches, we bought raw materials, and that helped us to scale. Then aside that, there was another time we needed loan, and we came to Impacta as well, and they helped us to secure BOI loan. So if you are here and you need that, Impacta is readily available to help you with that. Yes, they did it for us. And also, don't be scared. Go for it. Like I said, I started from my kitchen. From my kitchen, we moved to a one shop. Then from there, we moved to a 3-bedroom flat. And currently, we are building our factory. We are 90% done. And from September 2025 to now, we have put in more than 100,000, more than 100 million into that facility. This was what I started with, just 5,000 naira. And okay, yes, I'm sorry about that. Okay, so we are into food processing. We process Tom Brown cereal, date powder, tiger nut powder, sweet potato flour. That is what we are into. We're also into contract manufacturing and export manufacturing. Last year, I'm happy to see you, Ma. Last year, we also got the Word Fund on Booster, $30,000. And this is because we decided to put in the work. So if you decide to put in the work, the growth is there. And you will be seen. And just like they said, don't hide your story. Post it. Post it on all social media platforms. Post it. And when people see you, now our social media platforms are our CVs. Don't just let anybody tag you. Your social media platform is CV. When you apply for anything, usually they ask you to attach your social media links, right? They go there, they check, they confirm to see what you do. And like I also mentioned, when I started, I was doing everything. Right now, when we have lots of production, we have more than 200 staff working for us.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. Let's have it. You can be brief.
Okay. So when we are not...
Sorry.
Okay, yes, when we started, I was doing everything right, but then now we have over 200 staff, and aside that, aside exporting that we do, we also are the best producers of Tom Brown cereal in Nigeria, currently. Yes, we just signed a 12-month contract to supply Tom Brown for 12 months. And we have more coming in. So please don't be intimidated. Nothing should intimidate you. If you're wondering, okay, how can I get in contact with Impacta? There's a Telegram group. Just join, and they'll take it up from there. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Yakubu. I'd like to thank you, give a big thank you to all our panelists for those valuable insights. We will now open the floor for questions from the audience. If you have a question, please raise your hand and a microphone will be brought to you. Kindly keep your questions brief for like 30 seconds so we can hear from other participants. This time is going to be for just 2 people because of time.
So we're just going to do just one person.
Okay, fantastic.
So just indicate by
Thank you.
raising your hand, your name, and straight to your question. I need to tell the Holy Spirit to direct me right now, because I have a lot of, I'm sorry. This way, this way, this way. It's closer to me, I'm sorry.
Halima Abdullahi. My question goes like this. What is the hope of a common woman in Nigeria with just what is the hope of a common woman in Nigeria with just a business idea? Can you hear me? As in the hope for a common Nigerian wanting to start a business and you just have a business idea, you don't really have established your business already.
So anyone in the panel can
Yes, so
answer.
I'll just go ahead and answer that. Impactor has BDSPs who are ready to help you. Yes, they will help you. Whatever it is you have, they will look at your environment, right? And they'll ask you to get the problems around you. And from there, you'll get whatever type of idea you need.
Thank you. I was thinking she was going to answer it from her own experience, but speaking to the Impact Hub point, we have a dedicated mentorship program for women as well. So women like you can always apply annually to our annual mentorship program. You'll be matched with a seasoned mentor who would be able to guide you. And I think at a point, Miriam, I was your personal mentor at a point. So we match different women with different backgrounds based on the needs that the population needs. So your hand would literally be held. In Miriam's case, even when she was applying for the BOI loans, I had a dedicated team working with her, and even when there were issues, the team was trying to make phone calls and emailing the right people and looking at the application, I think before she submitted as well. So when we say we would literally hold your hands, we would hold your hands, literally, if you need it, and figuratively. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Effie, for that. As we conclude this important conversation, I would like to extend my sincere appreciation to our panelists for sharing valuable strategies on accessing financing for sustainable businesses. One message stands out clearly. Funding opportunities exist, but preparation, persistence, and clarity are essential in securing the right financial support. To the audience, I encourage you to take what you have learned today and begin positioning your businesses to attract the resources needed to grow and thrive. Please join me in giving our panelists a warm round of applause. Thank you all for your engagement and enjoy the rest of the conference.
Thank you. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, please celebrate our panelists and our beautiful and amazing moderator that has done a phenomenal job asking intelligent questions. And of course, our panelists that have answered our questions intelligently. Thank you. Once again, celebrate them as they make their way out of the stage. Thank you. Thank you. Media. Thank you. Thank you. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, please let's celebrate members of the NYC Corps. They've been keeping us company, delivering amazing sounds. Thank you so much. We'll move swiftly to a fireside chat. Yes, please. We'll move swiftly to a fireside chat. And this chat is on the topic From Diaspora to Deal Room, Turning Policy into Deals for Women-Led Sustainable Businesses. Now, when we started today, I talked about the fact that this conversation is all about reinvesting. Investing yesterday was about rethinking. This year, let's talk finance. Let's talk about reinvesting. And that is the focus of this panel that we'll be having, a fireside chat that we'll be having. From Diaspora to the Deal Room, Turning Policies into Deals for Women Sustainable Businesses. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll now call on the moderator of this fireside chat, no other person but the founder of the Broad Concept Group Kenya, no other person but Jemima Ella. Please, let's celebrate her as she comes up on stage. And while she comes up on stage, just to also inform you that if you want to purchase something, perhaps snack on something, you can make your way upstairs quietly. And we have our vendors with delicious meals that would attend to you if you want to purchase something to snack on quickly. Thank you very much. I'll now hand the microphone to the delectable moderator to take it from here. Thank you.
All right, good morning. Good morning. Could we please?
That's not how we do it here. Good morning. Impact Hub women, are we tired? We cannot be tired now. Good morning. Thank you. Oh, it's afternoon.
Oh, thank you for that. It's afternoon. Could we please give a round of applause? We can definitely do better than that. Please, let's give her a round of applause. So, protocol observed, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon once again. Good afternoon once again. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right, I hope this microphone will not disappoint me again. But I am here on stage. We're going to talk about From Diaspora to Deal Room, Turning Policy into Deals for Women-Led Sustainable Businesses. But before I invite my guest on stage, I'm going to do something fun, okay? So yesterday, I was able to greet you guys in one of your local languages, and today we're going to do something different, and I'll teach you how to say hi in my national language, which is Kiswahili. Are you guys ready? Are you guys ready? Are you excited to learn a bit of Swahili? Okay. So what I'm going to say is how you're doing, or ask you how you're doing, and then you're going to tell me you're doing all right. Are you actually doing all right? Okay, fantastic. So it's very simple. I'm going to ask habari yako, okay? You can repeat after me, habari yako. Very good, that means how are you? And then how you answer it is by saying nzuri sana, okay? Nzuri sana. So I'll go on and just ask you, habari yako? Oh, amazing, please clap for yourselves. All right, so on stage I'll be inviting Noye Ayeni, the Executive Director and CEO of the Nigerian Export Promotion Council, the woman who has, since 2023, grown Nigeria's non-oil exports by a staggering 35.6% to a record of 6.1 USD. Billions, guys, I'm talking in billions. Could you please clap for my guest as she comes on stage? And with nearly 30 years in banking and fintech, she knows how to bridge the gap between a business deal and a global market. Please, another warm round of applause for my guest. Thank you. Is it possible for us to get a microphone for our guest? So let's see if our guest got it. Habari yako. She habari yako? Languages can be a bit of a challenge. Huh?
Yeah.
It's okay, we understand. Thank you so much for gracing us
Thank you.
with your presence. I think this is going to be a beautiful session. So ladies, please keep an ear out because there are gems that would definitely help you in your business. Now, with the rich experience that you have, from your vantage point, what does it take for to convert opportunities into sustained international trade and real market presence?
Okay, thank you very much. First of all, I'd like to thank Efe for inviting me, and I'd like to commend her on what she's doing. Impact Her is really, really impacting a whole lot of women, and we are happy to also work with her at Nigerian Export Promotion Council. So speaking about your question, the first thing I would say is commitment, deep commitment. Because if you're export ready, that's the first step. So you have to have that deep commitment to be resilient, to be dogged, to be able to face through challenges and conquer it. That's number one. Because in any business, even in our personal lives, there are bound to be challenges. So you have to make up your mind that this business, I will do it as a woman, I will excel, I will compete favorably in the global market. That's number one.
Okay.
Number two, because you're export ready is the first step. You need to also understand, first of all, market intelligence is very key. If you need to look at your target market, you need to understand the demand, what sizes, what color, what packaging, what exactly. You need to understand the custom procedures in those locations. You need to understand the regulatory requirements. You need to sit down, do your market intelligence, get data, know where your customers are. If you're exporting to a particular country, it may be in a particular segment. Then the other thing I will speak about is keeping to quality and standard. Because if you are exporting and you're not keeping to standard, chances are that when you export, they can return it back. And in some countries, you actually pay money to get your goods destroyed. And that's a lot of loss, you know. So you need to look at keeping to food safety requirements, depending on if it's agricultural product. You need to look at the quality and standards. You need to understand exactly what is needed in that other area. Then the other thing is production. Many people say, oh, I'm ready to export, but you're not going to export just 2 bags to Ghana must go, because suppliers look at they give priority to buyers give priority to suppliers that can be consistent. So if they say, I want every month for you to supply me 2 containers, and then you supply the first one, the second one, you say you don't have it. So they are going to move to other areas. So production, you need to improve on your production system. Yes, and then how do you get your raw material so that you are consistent in supplying? And then finally again, or that's not really finally, market access. You need to create visibility to your products. You're export ready, but who knows? You know, and I'm glad when the panelists talked about visibility. Visibility is very key. You need to create visibility, social media. You have to have a network where the importing community or the target market know your businesses, and that you can do through international trade fairs. Exporters to even Africa. So that market, creating visibility to your product is very, very key. And they are quite big. And for you to dream big, you need some cheap source of funds.
Women who are ready to start the export business. But allow me to ask women who are ready to start the export business. But allow me to ask, for a lady who's right here, who probably does not have any kind of institutional backing, all they know is that they probably make very good leather bags or very nice outfits, whatever that business is. They don't know where to begin. All they know is probably a small group of equally minded ladies.